In a poignant twist of fate, Abdul Momand, Afghanistan's only cosmonaut and its first citizen in space, died at 67 in Germany after a long battle with cancer. This extraordinary man flew on a Soviet mission to the Mir space station during the twilight years of the Cold War when his homeland was engaged in a brutal war against the Soviets. Momand, who had lived in Stuttgart, Germany since 1992, joined the Soviet space program as part of Intercosmos, a joint initiative that sent cosmonauts from allied nations. His flight marked Afghanistan's inscription into the realm of global space exploration and became a source of pride and inspiration for generations of Afghans. Momand's journey began in 1988 when he blasted off from Kazakhstan on August 29 with two other cosmonauts, Vladimir Lykov as commander and Valery Polyakov, a doctor. During their 9-day mission aboard the Soyuz TM-6 spacecraft, Momand worked on various experiments and photographed Afghanistan's arable regions and mineral deposits to aid in mapping efforts. Momand's spaceflight was not just an achievement for his country, but also served as a moment of hope during a tumultuous time. In a poignant phone call from space with President Mohammad Najibullah, he pleaded for peace among his fellow Afghans. His mission included reading the Quran on Soviet television, presenting Afghanistan to the world in its national colors and language. Momand's legacy extends beyond his flight. He was born in Sardaband, a town in Afghanistan's Ghazni province, where as a boy, he dreamed of flying. He graduated from Kabul Polytechnic University, trained at military academies including Gagarin Air Force Academy near Moscow, and rose to become the chief navigator at Bagram Air Base. Momand's death has sent shockwaves through Afghanistan. Former President Ashraf Ghani expressed his deep sorrow, calling Momand a hero who made Afghans forget their bitter civil wars during their 9 days in space. His passing also brought closure to the Soviet era's collaboration with Afghanistan, which was marked by years of conflict. Momand's story is one of courage and resilience against all odds, a testament to his country's spirit even when it faced its darkest times. Adverse weather does not dampen Mexico's party as the co-hosts storm into the last 16 by beating Ecuador. Julian Quinones and Raúl Jiménez scored first-half goals as Mexico advanced to the FIFA World Cup 2026 round of 16, defeating 10-man Ecuador 2-0 in Tuesday's clash at Mexico City Stadium. The tournament co-hosts have maintained a perfect record at this year's World Cup. They will face either England or the Democratic Republic of Congo in the last 16 fixture on Sunday at the same venue. The scheduled kickoff for Tuesday's round of a 32 match in Mexico City was delayed by an hour due to heavy rain and lightning. Ecuador ended up with 10 players after Piero Hincapié was sent off in the 5th minute of stoppage time for covering his mouth during a confrontation with an opposition player. The incident highlighted the intensity of play despite the foul weather, which continued throughout the match. Mexico's victory on Tuesday marked their first win beyond the group stage since the 1986 tournament they hosted. That historic World Cup saw Mexico triumph in the final against West Germany, marking their last major title before a long hiatus from international competition. Since then, El-Tri, the nickname for Mexico's national soccer team, has struggled to find success at the highest levels of football. Tuesday's match was particularly significant as it ended a 40-year wait for a World Cup knockout stage victory in Mexico. The country had not advanced past the group stage since 1986, and this win lifted their spirits ahead of the last 16 encounter. Goals from Julian Quinones and Raúl Jiménez secured El-Tri's first win beyond the group stage since that historic tournament. These two players have become key figures in Mexico's recent resurgence, contributing significantly to their success on the international stage. The victory against Ecuador not only lifted Mexico's spirits, but also set them up for a potentially significant match against either England or the Democratic Republic of Congo in the last 16 round. Both teams are formidable opponents and will pose challenges for El-Tri as they look to advance further into the tournament. In today's tragic tale from eastern Pakistan, a devastating loss unfolded as the roof of a private tutoring center collapsed under construction pressure. The incident took place at a private tuition center located near Lahore's bustling cityscape in the suburb of Kana. Young children were among those taken from us when their lives came to an abrupt end. At least 14 schoolchildren perished after the roof gave way, with 8 others sustaining injuries that required medical attention. The collapse occurred around 4:45 p.m. local time, as reported by Farouk Ahmed, a spokesman for the emergency service Rescue 1122, who relayed this information to the BBC. The rescue operation was completed within an hour of receiving the initial call. Most people recovered were between 7 and 11 years old. Another 5 individuals are believed to be injured in the incident. A witness told AFP that tiles on the roof had been undergoing repairs while the children studied. Suddenly, the roof collapsed under immense weight, trapping numerous young lives beneath its debris. The authorities launched an investigation into the collapse of the building, which was housed inside a residential structure with an unsafe roof. The tutoring center lacked proper registration and operated in what residents described as an aging and unsafe building. Authorities detained 2 individuals for preliminary inquiries, seeking to understand the circumstances leading to this tragic event. This incident highlights the precarious state of many buildings in Pakistan, where substandard materials and lax enforcement contribute to frequent structural failures. Many structures are built with inferior materials, and safety regulations are frequently ignored to reduce costs. The collapse at the center has left an indelible mark on the community, one of grief, anger, and the enduring hope for safer spaces where young lives can be protected. The impact of such incidents is profound, not only in terms of human life, but also in terms of emotional distress felt by families and communities. Parents wept openly as they mourned the loss of their children, with mothers and female relatives expressing grief by beating their chests. Most victims lived locally, leading to funeral prayers being expected later that evening. Residents expressed anger at the owner of the tutoring center for operating in an unsafe building. They demanded swift justice for those responsible. Pakistan's President Asif Ali Zardari and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif echoed this sentiment, offering condolences and calling for stringent safety measures to prevent similar tragedies. In Lahore, a city that serves as Punjab's capital, with many parents sending their children to private tutoring centers in the evenings, such incidents underscore the need for improved construction standards and enforcement of safety regulations. The collapse at this center has left an indelible mark on the community, one of grief, anger, and the enduring hope for safer spaces where young lives can be protected. The incident also highlights the importance of proper registration and oversight in private tutoring centers to ensure they operate safely within the confines of residential buildings. Authorities must take swift action to prevent such tragedies from recurring by enforcing safety standards and holding accountable those responsible for operating unsafe structures. As the community grieved, authorities worked tirelessly to locate and rescue survivors trapped beneath the debris. Search and rescue teams employed shovels and bare hands to remove rubble in an effort to reach children still buried. The scene was a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the relentless need for safety measures in educational settings. This tragic event serves as a wake-up call, urging communities, authorities, and policymakers to prioritize construction standards and enforcement of safety regulations to protect young lives like those lost at this tutoring center. As Lahore's residents continue to mourn their loss, they hope that such tragedies will be prevented from occurring again, ensuring safer spaces for children to learn and grow in the future. In a shocking development this week, Europe's marine experts announced that the first half of 2026 witnessed oceans reaching their hottest June ever recorded, setting off alarm bells for climate scientists across the globe. The European Union's Copernicus Marine Service reported on Wednesday that global sea surface temperatures hit an unprecedented 21.0 degrees Celsius (69.8 degrees Fahrenheit) in June, surpassing previous records from 2023 and 2024. This milestone comes as the world braces for potential El Niño conditions, which could push ocean and atmospheric temperatures even higher. The Copernicus Marine Service highlighted that this period was marked by persistent warmth across much of the globe's oceans, with widespread marine heat waves affecting over 82% of Earth's surface. Regional hotspots included the Mediterranean Sea, central North Atlantic, and equatorial Pacific. These conditions point to a stressed ocean environment under sustained thermal stress. El Niño weather patterns are expected to intensify these conditions in 2026 and beyond. Current conditions suggest we may be entering a new phase of warming, with Carlo Buontempo, director of the Copernicus Climate Change Service, noting that with ocean temperatures at these levels and El Niño on the horizon, more temperature records are likely to fall in the coming months. El Niño is characterized by unusually warm waters in parts of the Pacific Ocean. This phenomenon releases additional heat into the atmosphere, leading to a variety of weather extremes worldwide. These can include flooding in Peru, droughts in Africa, and wildfires in Australia. The World Meteorological Organization (WMO) warned last month that oceans are in a deepening crisis. The WMO cited rapid warming and rising sea levels as key issues. The Copernicus report underscores these concerns by linking ocean temperatures directly to human-driven climate change. This highlights the critical role of oceans as heat sinks for excess atmospheric heat. As warmer seas contribute to more intense tropical cyclones and rainfall events, they also exacerbate the problem of rising sea levels due to water expansion when heated. Furthermore, prolonged marine heat waves devastate coral reefs, potentially leading to bleaching and death among corals, which are already under significant stress from climate change. The convergence of these factors, record-breaking ocean temperatures, El Niño's potential amplification, and the relentless march of climate change presents a dire outlook for our planet's future. The world is now watching as these conditions unfold. Scientists urge urgent action to mitigate further warming and its devastating effects on marine ecosystems and global weather patterns. As we stand at this critical juncture in Earth's history, it is imperative that governments, industries, and individuals take decisive steps to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adopt sustainable practices. The health of our oceans not only impacts climate stability, but also supports millions of livelihoods worldwide. By working together, we can protect these vital resources for future generations. In today's financial disclosure, President Donald Trump has revealed he made more than $1 billion last year from cryptocurrency alone, surpassing even his previous record-breaking earnings. This revelation comes as the president continues to navigate complex business dealings that blur the lines between personal and public life. The 927-page mandatory financial report for 2025 shows that President Trump reported $635 million in royalties from a meme coin he launched shortly before taking office, despite its value plummeting since then. He also noted over $500 million in income from World Liberty Financial, a cryptocurrency firm founded by his own sons and the children of his special envoy, Steve Witkoff. In addition to these earnings, Trump reported millions more from real estate ventures like Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, where he owns a private club. He also earned substantial sums from golf clubs in Doral, Florida, Bedminster, New Jersey, and Jupiter, Florida, as well as his Turnberry property in Scotland. The financial disclosure further highlights Trump's personal net worth has risen significantly over the past year. Forbes estimates it at $6 billion, while Bloomberg's Billionaires Index puts it at $7.6 billion. This wealth underscores how deeply intertwined personal finances and public office can be for high-profile individuals like President Trump. Despite his earlier criticism of cryptocurrency as a scam, this financial disclosure emphasizes the lucrative nature of these ventures. His crypto earnings now vastly outstrip income from real estate, which has been a cornerstone of his business empire since the early days of the Trump Organization in 1971. The report also includes significant income from legal settlements, including $16 million from ABC, $16 million from CBS Broadcasting and CBS Interactive, $24.5 million from Meta Facebook, $22 million from YouTube, and $8 million from TikTok. These funds are reportedly being used to support Trump's future presidential library or a nonprofit dedicated to park sites in Washington, D.C. As the president continues to profit from his family's cryptocurrency activities, observers note that this financial success could further complicate any potential conflicts of interest as he prepares for another term in office. The White House has repeatedly emphasized that President Trump placed his businesses in a trust managed by his sons to avoid conflicts of interest. Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly stated proudly, "Neither the president nor his family has ever engaged or will ever engage in conflicts of interest." She added, "All actions by President Trump and his administration are taken in the best interest of the American people." Despite these assurances from the White House, the stark contrast between Trump's personal wealth and public service remains a point of contention. This financial disclosure paints an intricate picture of President Trump's multifaceted business empire, highlighting both his financial acumen and the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency and digital assets. As we delve deeper into these complex transactions, one thing is clear: Donald Trump has once again demonstrated how deeply intertwined personal wealth and public office can be. The president's return to the White House comes as he continues to navigate a business empire that spans multiple ventures, from real estate to cryptocurrencies, all while managing his role in government. This financial success could potentially impact any potential conflicts of interest as he prepares for another term in office. In today's news, an ultra-traditionalist group has defied Pope Leo Roman XIV by consecrating 4 bishops without his consent at its seminary in Econ, Switzerland, a move that risks schism and automatic excommunication for all involved. This crisis marks the first major challenge for the newly elected pope, as he seeks to heal divisions within the Catholic Church. The Society of St. Pius XSSBX, founded by Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre in opposition to Vatican Roman II reforms, is now led by Pope Leo Roman XIV, who succeeded former Pope Benedict Roman XVI. Despite his efforts to foster unity, the SSBX continues to hold sway over thousands of adherents who prefer traditional Latin masses. On Wednesday, under a cloudless sky, thousands gathered at the Society Seminary in Ecom for an ancient Latin Mass consecrating 4 bishops without papal consent, a bold act that could fracture the Church. The ceremony began with solemn bells ringing through the valley and continued as hundreds of priests processed towards the altar under a tent. The Vatican has warned such actions amount to a sin of extreme gravity, resulting in automatic excommunication for both those administering the consecration and the bishops receiving it. Yet, despite this threat, the event proceeded without pause or hesitation from the SSBX members. For Marc-André Mabillard, media manager for the Society, the pain inflicted on them by the Vatican is outweighed by their belief in upholding traditional Catholic faith. The group's resolve underscores the ongoing schism between modernizing and traditionalist wings of the Church under Pope Leo Roman XIV leadership. As this crisis unfolds, observers are watching closely to see how the Holy See will respond. While some experts suggest a public declaration of penalties is likely, few expect the Vatican to extend excommunications beyond those directly involved in the consecration ceremony. The SSBX continued growth and influence make it a significant threat to Church unity. Despite these challenges, the Society remains undeterred, celebrating this historic event with joyous preparations for its faithful members. In an age of liturgical change, their stance highlights the deep divisions within the Catholic community as they navigate the legacy of Vatican Roman II reforms under Pope Leo Roman XIV guidance. In a shocking twist after Mexico's World Cup win, more than 1 million people descended on Mexico City streets to celebrate their country's knockout victory over Ecuador. The city government reported this massive turnout as fans gathered around the iconic Angel of Independence monument downtown. This unprecedented gathering led to a tragic outcome. 3 people died from suffocation during the celebrations. The health authority in Mexico City confirmed that 2 women, aged 19 and 48 respectively, and a man aged 44 had succumbed to the deadly conditions caused by overcrowding. Emergency services were immediately deployed to treat unconscious fans who were found at different locations around Paseo de la Reforma. The city's health authority stated that after performing first aid and CPR techniques on the patients, they were transferred to hospitals for specialized medical care. All 3 victims were confirmed dead from suffocation, with their families identified by authorities. Mayor Clara Brugada expressed her most sincere condolences to the victims' families, while pledging support in the coming days. She urged fans to always celebrate responsibly and empathetically, emphasizing that safety should be a top priority during such celebrations. The wild celebrations in Mexico City continued long after the final whistle of the match. The Estadio Azteca saw scenes of jubilation among Mexico's football fans, with fireworks lighting up the night sky for hours. This massive gathering in one city alone underscores the deep passion and excitement surrounding the World Cup. Prior to the match, Mayor Brugada had advised soccer fans to look elsewhere near the Angel of Independence monument due to the already large crowds gathered there. The victory sent Mexico into the round of 16, where they could potentially face England if Thomas Tuchel's team defeated DR Congo in their upcoming match on Wednesday. The metropolitan area of Mexico City houses more than 20 million people, making it one of the most densely populated places on Earth. This context highlights the challenges and importance of managing such large gatherings during major events like the World Cup. The deaths serve as a stark reminder that safety measures must be prioritized to prevent tragedies from occurring in the future. In a shocking revelation, more than 6,000 people were killed last year when the RSF besieged and took over El-Fasher, marking one of the bloodiest episodes in Sudan's civil war, according to UN reports. Amnesty International has released an investigation alleging that crimes against humanity and ethnic cleansing were committed by the Rapid Support Forces RSF. The report details how children were deliberately targeted and suffered immensely during the siege. The RSF's actions included murder, forcible transfer, imprisonment, torture, rape, sexual slavery, other forms of sexual violence, enslavement, extermination, and persecution. Amnesty International's findings are based on dozens of survivor accounts reviewed through open-source videos and satellite imagery from North Darfur. One 17-year-old boy recounted being tied up and beaten with sticks before being shot in the leg by Arab fighters associated with the RSF. The RSF's atrocities were not isolated incidents but part of a larger, targeted campaign against civilians based on their ethnic identity. The report highlights how Arab militias within the RSF attacked members of local non-Arab communities using derogatory terms like slave or servant. This history of violence against black African groups in Darfur is well documented. The RSF's actions were part of a broader conflict between Sudan's regular army and paramilitary forces. The civil war has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, displaced over 14 million people, and widespread sexual violence has been used as a weapon of war. Both the RSF and the Sudanese Armed Forces SAF have denied these accusations. In March last year, the RSF fled Khartoum and shifted its focus to consolidating control in western Darfur by capturing El-Fasher. This move extended their reach into southern Kordofan states. Amnesty International's report comes after years of allegations against the RSF, but is the first comprehensive investigation detailing these crimes. The Secretary General of Amnesty International, Agnes Callamard, warned that civilians in El-Fasher faced horrors as the RSF laid siege to the city. She described it as a stain on humanity's conscience. Sudan remains mired in a 3-year power struggle between its regular army and paramilitary forces. The ongoing conflict has seen both sides accused of war crimes, which they deny. The latest Amnesty report underscores the severity of these allegations against the RSF, highlighting their systematic attacks on civilians based on ethnicity as part of a brutal campaign that continues to this day. In a shocking and deeply troubling incident that has sent shockwaves through British society, 2 officers from Southampton's local police force find themselves under intense scrutiny after their handling of an 18-year-old student named Henry Nowak went tragically wrong. The case began on December 29th in the southern English city when Nowak was fatally stabbed by a man identified as Vikram Digwa, who then falsely claimed he had been victimized by racism. Nowak's death came after he had already sustained severe injuries from the stabbing attack. While lying in the street and pleading for help with his final words of "I've been stabbed and I can't breathe," Nowak was handcuffed by 2 police officers who accepted Digwa's account, disregarding Nowak's desperate cries for assistance. The footage captured on the body cameras of the responding officers shows Nowak's agonized pleas going unanswered. The stark contrast between the situation as described in the initial narration and the reality now unfolding is striking. Nowak was not only ignored, but also victimized by his police handlers, who failed to provide immediate medical attention, a critical error that could have potentially saved his life. The Independent Office for Police Conduct (IOPC), an English watchdog tasked with investigating such incidents, has launched a thorough investigation into the actions of these 2 officers. The IOPC is examining whether race or religion played a role in their decision-making process at the scene. This examination will also delve into the decisions and actions of control room staff, who provided information to the responding officers. The case has reignited discussions about racial profiling within law enforcement, particularly how different communities are treated by police forces across the United Kingdom. Far-right activists and commentators have seized on this incident to further their claims that there exist double standards or 2-tier policing, where allegations of racism may result in more lenient treatment for perpetrators. Henry Nowak's father, Mark, has spoken out against what he describes as an inhumane and degrading treatment by the police. In a statement, he emphasized his desire to avoid further division and tension stemming from this incident. He wants Henry's story to help make streets safer for everyone, not be used as a tool of division. The protests that followed Digwa's sentencing have been particularly contentious. After the verdict, large marches in Southampton turned violent when marchers attacked police officers and blocked roads with stones, bottles, and bins. This escalation underscores the deep-seated anger and frustration felt by many community members, who feel their voices are not being heard or respected. The IOPC investigation into these 2 officers is expected to take time, but it comes at a critical juncture for law enforcement in the UK. The watchdog's decisions will have far-reaching implications for public confidence in police forces and how they treat all communities equally under the law. This case serves as a stark reminder of the need for improved training and protocols within law enforcement agencies to ensure that all individuals receive immediate medical attention regardless of their perceived ethnicity or religious background. Henry Nowak's death is not just a tragic personal loss, but also a call to action for systemic change in how different communities are treated by police forces across the United Kingdom. The IOPC investigation into these officers will be crucial in determining whether any disciplinary actions should follow from this incident. If findings indicate gross misconduct, it could lead to significant changes within law enforcement practices and public perception of policing. The fallout from Henry Nowak's death has already begun to shape ongoing debates about race, justice, and the role of police in communities across the UK. Several people killed in a tragic fire at an apartment block in Belgium's Antwerp. At least 5 fatalities have been confirmed after thick smoke billowed from the top floors of a 10-story building in the Lincoln district early Wednesday morning. Dramatic video captured a man escaping through a window after being rescued by firefighters. The incident occurred on the 8th floor of an apartment block that houses more than 200 residents, including parents-in-law who were successfully evacuated with their cat from the burning structure. Thick smoke had halted evacuation attempts for some residents, leading to rescue efforts that took over 10 minutes before they could be safely removed. Background: Lincoln is a densely populated area in eastern Antwerp known for its high-rise apartment buildings and proximity to popular outdoor summer events. The fire department received an urgent call at 9:53 a.m. Wednesday regarding what appeared to be an out-of-control blaze on the 8th floor. Emergency services rushed to the scene with multiple fire brigades, ambulances, and emergency teams. One man was seen hanging from a balcony attempting to get fresh air before escaping through a window. Residents barricaded themselves in their flats until firefighters arrived on a ladder truck equipped for rescue operations. The Prime Minister of Belgium, Bart De Wever, expressed his condolences for the victims and evacuated residents, calling it a terrible fire with more than 20 victims found. Impact: the incident has left a heavy toll at Lincoln. Police spokeswoman Kim Bassines described it as a heavy toll here at Lincoln, adding that a number of people had suffered from serious and minor injuries. Firefighters continued their efforts to extinguish the blaze, facing challenges due to its size, intensity, poor visibility, and thick smoke inside the building. Chronology: emergency services rushed to the scene with multiple fire brigades, ambulances, and emergency teams. One man was seen hanging from a balcony attempting to get fresh air before escaping through a window. Residents barricaded themselves in their flats until firefighters arrived on a ladder truck equipped for rescue operations. The Prime Minister of Belgium, Bart De Wever, expressed his condolences for the victims and evacuated residents. Residents described how thick smoke had halted evacuation attempts for some, leading to rescue efforts that took over 10 minutes before they could be safely removed. One man said he tried their utmost to save the cat, but unfortunately in the end were unable to do so. Another man said his parents-in-law, one of them ex-mayor of Antwerp Bob Cools, had been successfully evacuated from the building and taken to hospital. The cause of the blaze remains under investigation. Witnesses reported work being carried out on the roof prior to the incident. Authorities urged residents in the area to remain vigilant as investigations continued into the cause of the fire. The Prime Minister called for support for affected families, emphasizing that early response from emergency services was crucial for minimizing damage. Latest developments: Antwerp Fire Brigade spokesperson Marie de Klerk stated, "This is a very complex fire with poor visibility and heavy smoke inside the building. That makes it more difficult to extinguish." Authorities continue their efforts to provide support to affected families as investigations into the cause of the fire proceed. The incident has highlighted the importance of safety measures and early response from emergency services in minimizing damage and loss of life.